It'd be an understatement to say that I was dreading this showcase. Speedo Sound Sonic got buffed just like all the other characters, but in reality, it really feels like he didn't. I'll just tell you that now before we even show this guy off in multiple different things. It kind of just feels like he's the same, which is weird because he did get buffed. Like, his modifiers were changed. He also has an amazing Dream Awakening, giving him 60% more damage up. Also, the other Dream is amazing, but something about him, man, he just doesn't feel buffed. He doesn't feel renewed to an extent. He just feels the same, and I really don't know why. You guys will see in the gameplay, it just feels like he should be dealing a lot more damage than what he is. Also, I think another like big issue with this character is that his damage is so spread out. So if you see with his true art, like, he goes into this and all these lines and stuff, yeah, I mean, it's a cool animation, I guess, but it takes so long for him to deal all of his damage. And of course, you know, that last hit right there where all of them come together is a major hit as well, but it takes so long for all that to come out, and most of the time you won't even get to that last big hit in his true art. Mind you, his true art's only at 65,000%, but Sonic does have a 200% crit rate tied to it. Now, some of you guys that may not know what Sonic does, that's extremely beneficial for him because his main ability is the self-proclaimed strongest ninja, which gives him more damage based on his crit rate. The higher crit rate you got, the more damage you get. So technically his true art has a 200% damage buff tied to it. And that's pretty much all Sonic does. He's just all about DPS. If you aren't dealing damage, then you aren't talking Sonic, I'm gonna be honest. So first things first, let's actually show off a nuke with Sonic, which I think this is where he's actually the strongest in. You can use him in sustain, which we'll be showing some sustain teams in a minute, but for the most part, nuking is really where he's at. This is the equips we're running, this is the step we're running. Pretty standard stuff here, I feel like, if you want to run a Sonic team. And you see here we're actually using Sonic Scarf instead of the Pallet Necklace or any other type of item, because Sonic Scarf is effectively 100% damage up to Sonic, since it does increase his crit rate by 100%. And since this is a free-to-play item, you guys can go ahead and get this right now in the game. But in this fight, you'll see very quickly, like, I don't know, just something about Sonic just doesn't feel good, man. It doesn't feel like amazing or he's doing a lot for the team. Oh wait, I put on the wrong thing. I still got my limbs clothes on for this, man. But you'll see in the gameplay, man, it just doesn't feel something about it, man, just doesn't feel as good. And with everything now factored in, like, Sonic's gonna hit pretty hard. Look at that, it's about like 321k per hit, which isn't anything to laugh about. That's actually really good damage, especially for how often he hits. But I think the issue is that it doesn't feel as impactful as it probably should. As you check the details, like 10 million with Sonic is crazy, right? That's absolutely insane, but I don't know, just doesn't hit the same for me. This is against the Earthcrest Palace, the one you have to poison, of course. Pop off everything. I don't know if Ainz is actually gonna be able to get his super art off. It will. There we go. And like, the damage is good. It's just, I think it's because it happens at such a like slow rate. That's the reason why. A lot of characters nowadays, they deal damage so quickly with their animations, because a lot of animations are very fast, that seeing something like that, it just doesn't feel as good. There you go, still 4 million with that, which is pretty solid. One thing that you could do is actually use Sonic with a crit buffer, because I know there's a limit, or not really a limit, but there's like, well, I guess you could say a limit, but it's kind of like Archgen types. There's a certain group of stuff. I think it works as you can have one crit buff through arts, you can have one crit buff through equips, and then of course you can have a crit buff through your passive. Also, I just now realized I have freaking Haruto on the team, and I'm also using Emperor, which means we only got, oh my lord, a brother is not here at the moment. But like, look at this, like, still that damage, it's good. It's definitely good, but it could be better. It could be better. It really could. And I think that's just like my main issue, is that when it comes to sustain with this guy specifically, since Sonic is just pretty much a attacker, and that's what he was back in the day, he's not someone like Saitama who has like a ridiculous multiplier and someone that's extremely fast. He just deals damage, and he deals damage pretty slow for someone that's supposed to be extremely fast. It makes it to where he doesn't really have, there's no benefit in running them, right? There's no benefit at all. One thing I will say though is that if you are brand new to the game, this type of attacker would really benefit you, because right now, I mean, let me think, there's not really another like top tier attacker out at the moment. And of course, like in content where you're doing stuff like Summoner's Road and everything, having a unit like Sonic could be pretty beneficial, because he deals enough damage to still be a threat, but this is where he performs the worst in my opinion. Just using him in sustain teams is really not it. This guy having the 200 arc gauge, or if you go the route that I did and gave him just more crit damage up, really solidifies his role as being more of this nuker style character, or being more of this just event farmer. Since he does give himself 200 arc gauge, of course he's not as good as someone like Jay or someone like Gray or, you know, anyone else that gives himself arc gauge per stage. But having that 200 arc gauge right off the gate pretty much means that you could use stuff on him that are just like floor clearing equips. Well, you could use one floor clearing equip, get through a stage instantly, then once you get to the boss room, you pop his Chew Art, maybe you have Sonic Scarf on him too, so you get a bit more damage up, and then hopefully with that and the rest of your team, you're able to instantly kill the boss in like co-op or just whatever you're currently nuking and trying to farm. Personally, the one thing that I would do for this man Sonic is I would have changed some stuff, especially with the Dream Awakenings. With the Dark Dream here, the autofill arc gauge for dark units is cool, but it's really not needed. So I don't really see the point in having the dark units, and if you're going something like crit damage, you might as well go all the way and just make this the straight attacker dream. So give him 60% crit damage and 60% crit rate. The water dream being the way it is perfectly fine. I just feel like physical damage master is the thing that they give to people that they don't know what to do with that second passive, so they're like, just throw this on. So yeah, all in all, I think this man Sonic has a few things going for him, like being a luck unit, being a character that has 200 arc gauge as soon as you start the quest, so he's a really strong luck unit in that regard, having pretty solid damage ups and everything, also being pretty self-sufficient as well with his arc gauge and all that. But he's just not it, man. He's really not. He's, I don't want to say the worst character in the crossover. I feel like he almost is the worst character in the crossover now, which is saying a lot since Garo is in this crossover too. But I feel like with Garo, at least he fulfills a niche. Sonic doesn't fulfill any type of niche, and he's just dealing damage, and that's it. Which sucks to say, because Sonic back in the day, I loved this character. I would use him all the time in so many things, because he was just him. He really was. He just dealt so much damage, and he was so freaking good. And now he's just kind of mid. That's literally the best way to put it. He's just I don't really know. But hey, that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you all for hanging out. It's been your boy P. If you enjoyed this video, hurry and check out either one of the other videos popping on the screen right now. Great content, guarantee you love them. Oh, and one more thing before you leave. Don't forget to drink water.